Hey everybody, this is James with WSTrades.com. I want to provide an update here on the markets in general and also a few tickers that I saw were trending on YouTube. So one of them here is ticker HUSA, Houston American Energy Shares. So a news story here talking about this insane move in price, up 348%. So it says shares were recently up 348% to 852. As you can see, it made it much higher than that. So this thing was trading around $2 before this move to about 16. So this is just a ridiculous run, pretty much in a day. You have it starting to move, looks like pre-market yesterday, and then post-market, it looks like that's where it peaked out around $16. So I know oil and gas and energy is kind of going bananas right now with a lot of other things with the whole Russia-Ukraine situation, but this kind of a move is too much. So I threw up a couple trend lines here. Here's one for the uptrend, and you can see how ridiculously far away it is from this uptrend line. I mean, you've got a low here and then a low here, so that's where I threw up that trend line as far as, a higher low as this thing started to make its moves. And then here, you can see that peak around $16, and then it sold up, it sold off, tried to rally back up, hit this point right here, and then sold off hard, bounced back down. So you can see the close yesterday was 11:30, and it looks like we're about to go into the $9 range. I mean, this is just too big of a move, too fast. I definitely don't think it is sustainable, even though a lot of oil and energy stuff is going to the moon right now. I think this is too big of a move. So I would keep an eye here on this downtrend line as it approaches. Well, it's not really going to probably approach it the rest of pre-market here, but we'll kind of see what happens if it comes back to this level and tries to touch this level. I would kind of see what happens there. I would expect this thing to hit this level and then start to sell off and continue to move lower. And then another point is this uptrend line. It's pretty far away from it right now. It's way down here, but I would keep an eye on that as well. And I would expect this thing to revert back to this uptrend line and then kind of see what happens there. If this thing bleeds down to this trend line and buyers start to step in and rally it off of that level, that could be a good long entry. Although myself, I'm not going to be going long this thing. This thing is way too overextended right now. So it's just really not a trade that I would get into and go long. Probably, if anything, I would short this thing or sell call spreads against it. I didn't even take a look to see if this thing has an options chain or not. But yeah, that's kind of key levels that I'm looking at on this 15-minute chart. When I went out to the longer time frames, there was not much to see just because it was a one-day move. You can see there's just this crazy explosion, this one candle on the daily. The RSI is at 97, over 97. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Way too overextended in my opinion. So yeah, let's kind of see what happens here, especially with this downtrend line and also this uptrend line here. But that's definitely what I'm seeing right now. You can see that this candle is starting to tick up here. This thing was red, and now the buyers are stepping in and trying to pump this thing. It's about to challenge that 21-day EMA there, and then also this downtrend line right here. So let's also take a look here. I think Disney was on there as well. I think they recently had earnings. I actually made a trade, so this can also, we can cover my trade that I got into here. So let me go out to the daily time frame. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, we had earnings right here. Oh, sorry, the earnings were not recently. I was looking at the daily chart. It's been a while since we had earnings. So we did have earnings here, and the thing made a little bit of a move up within that time range, and then it hit this level here about 155, and since then it has been selling off, and the last 3 days have been super ugly. It looked like the 140 level was key, and I think Larry had alerted me to them falling through this level, or I don't know if it was a fire to the downside, or I'm not exactly sure what it was. Probably this 140 level here breaking. And when I saw that, I thought that was a good sign to go short. So I sold a call spread there. Let's take a look at my order history and see what actually was my strike there, or my short strike and my long strike. So Disney, yeah, 145. So going back to this chart here, 145 was my short strike, and then 150 is my long. So yeah, my short strike is, $5 above this key level here that broke. So I've definitely got some room to the upside if this thing does make a move higher. You can see it's the bid-ask spread is still pretty wide here, but it looks like it may open about the same or a little lower from where it closed yesterday. But yeah, I got some range. If the buyers do step back into this thing and start to rally it up and it breaks through that 140 level, that would definitely be a good sign for the stock. But I would still have $5 in range there on the top end. So yeah, definitely here on this daily time frame, I thought that 140 level was key, and then it looks like to me that it's probably going down to test the 130. You can see a test of that 130 level here on January 25th, but to me it looks like it's going to come down and test that, and that would be a key level to look at as well. Once it fell through 140, good short entry there, and then what's going to happen at 130? If it does not hold that 130 level, let's take a look at the weekly and see what might be a next stop. It could be 120. Looking at this level right here, you do have it bouncing off of that level. So yeah, I think if it doesn't hold 130, it's probably going to come down and test this 120 level. So that was HUSA and Disney. Oh, also Rolls-Royce, or RYCEY, was on this as well. I'm not exactly sure what this was all about. Let's head into the shorter time frames. I don't know why this thing is trending for people to short it, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. They're definitely had some trouble here up around $2 here on the daily time frame, and that's where the downtrend started. You can see here around 140, 145 was a key level that broke. So we fell below that level and just continuing to bleed. And then, well, maybe that's why it was trending. People saw it close below this 120 level. That's another key level. So it looks like it's going to be ticking up here a little bit. It looks like futures are red right now, though, but this thing, the bid ask is going to put it, if it stays this way, around 122, 123. So this thing might actually open a little bit higher, but kind of looking at futures right now, we've got NQ down 0.6%, S&P down 0.2%, and Dow futures down 0.1%. So S&P and Dow pretty flat. NQ a little lower there, but man, I just was taking a look at these futures a little bit ago, and they were all green, and it looks like sellers are stepping back in here. So yeah, we'll kind of see here, but see if these buyers can actually keep this thing afloat above that key 120 level, or if the selling pressure is going to continue and we're going to close below that. Let's check out the weekly time frame to see if there's anything, and there is not anything below this level. So geez, if it does not hold this 120, I mean, you can see this low here of 116, but there's really nothing on this larger time frame that tells me this thing is going to stop at like $1 or 90 cents or anything like that. So there's really nothing to look at to the downside. It's hard to say what level this thing might test if it can't hold this 120, but as you can see, as of yesterday, it closed below that 120 level and finished at 118. So yeah, we'll see how hard this thing can get beat down if it cannot hold that 120 level. So yeah, those were, I think, the three main things there. Let's take a look at some indexes. Take a look at SPY really quick. So I've got the weekly chart here pulled up on SPY. I want to say I threw up this downtrend line on the daily time frame, but it definitely applies to the weekly time frame as well. So you see we had a challenge of this and then fat move lower. Yesterday was an ugly day for like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ. So probably a lot of indexes, a lot of stocks are going to be looking like this on a weekly chart. But yeah, this downtrend line still in play here. I'm not really going to change my tune on market sentiment until this downtrend line can be broken. And you can see it tried here last week, got a little bit above it, and then the sellers came in and crushed it, left that wick sticking out. This was a pretty crazy candle here. I don't know if this is just profit taking due to this massive move down here, but yeah, we're still respecting this downtrend line here. Let's check out the weekly time frame on DIA, which is the Dow Jones ETF. Yeah, these trend lines are so steep, but yeah, if you kind of throw something up like right here, maybe you can kind of see, actually, let's go to the daily. Some of these don't look that great on the weekly time frame, but yeah, actually you can see here, this is a little better. You can see that peak right here. So yeah, Dow, we're still pretty far away right now from this downtrend line. If you see this high right here, and then this lower high right here, we're not even close to that right now. The RSI is down around 34. So yeah, I would expect this thing to try to trek back towards this, and then we'll kind of see what happens there. Again, you know, I'm going to need to see these downtrend lines broken by these major indexes to see if maybe the selling pressure is over and maybe we're actually going to flatten out or head back into an uptrend. And let's check out QQQ, which is the NASDAQ ETF. So I had an uptrend line there on the daily that was broken. And then we have these two tests of around 408. Let's try to throw up a trend line here to kind of take a look at the action. Yeah, I'd probably throw up a trend line about right there. So you have a hard bleed out to around the 340 level, rally back, hit this level here around 365, and then hard move down again, making a lower low down to 319, 320, rally back to that level, and you can see that nasty rejection similar to SPY we saw on the weekly, hitting that trend line and then selling off and moving off of that level. So again, for NASDAQ, I think this is key. I think this thing is probably going to head down and test 320, and we'll kind of see what happens at that 320 level. But, you know, again, the first sign for me is let's break through this downtrend line that's being respected right now. Until this thing can actually challenge that level and break through it, you know, I'm going to be bearish on the NASDAQ as well. Yeah, so you can see this thing closed at 324.86, and we are in the 322s right now. NASDAQ futures still down 0.6%, so definitely looking like a lower open here unless something happens within the next hour and the buyers step back into NASDAQ futures. Looks like we're definitely going to have a lower open and continue to work down towards this 320 level, which we recently hit here. But if it does fall through this 320 level, definitely see that as a good short entry. If that happens, I'm probably going to sell a call spread against the Qs. So that's probably a key level I will be looking at, and we'll put on a trade depending on what happens at that 320, 319 level. So I'll continue to keep you guys updated on the markets in general and these different trending tickers, and also any new trades that I get into. Please like this video. Please also subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this. Talk to you soon.